If you are a Christian content creator and you're struggling to post and show up consistently, this message is for you. So let's keep it 100% real. Content creation can be tough, especially when we know we're supposed to be keeping our eyes on God. We know we're supposed to be keeping our eyes on the message, but it's easy to get distracted by the numbers, the lack of engagement, the low performance of posts when we're expecting for much more. All of these things can definitely challenge your focus. But there's one mindset shift that I've made recently that I want to share with you today that is going to change everything when it comes to your content creation. So here's the truth. Content isn't just content. Content is your ministry. When you see it this way, consistency becomes easier, your motivation changes, and your impact grows. So let's unpack that. So I'll be honest, I have not been the most faithful or the most consistent with my content. I would go months without posting a single piece of content, and to be honest, sometimes my results would look sporadic. I used to think that extreme extended breaks were okay, and I feel like I was making excuses for myself. Of course, life happens, so I didn't see a problem for me taking, breaks, unannounced breaks for long periods of time. But then God came in and spoke. I wouldn't take a break from my job. If I had a job, I wouldn't take a break from it for extended periods of time and then still expect to be paid. Or I wouldn't like it if my hairdresser or my doctor up and quit out of nowhere and they weren't reliable to treat me for a particular condition. I wouldn't like that. So why was I treating the gifts that God had given me? Why was I treating my ministry any differently? God had deposited on the inside of me a passion, given me a message, given me a gift and something to share with the world. So why was I treating it so carelessly? I simply wasn't being faithful nor a good steward over my gifts. And when I realized this, everything shifted. So here are some of the things that I learned. Content is not about numbers. It's about obedience. It's not about getting attention. It's about impact. It's not about perfection. It's about faithfulness. When I stopped focusing on how many people are watching and I started focusing more on the reason why I'm creating the content, everything changed. So here's what I want you to remember today. You're not just creating content, you're serving a purpose. God didn't give you your voice, your knowledge, your skills, or passion for you to sit on it. So let's shift how we approach content creation. Here are 5 mindset shifts that are going to help you create more consistently and show up with purpose. Number 1 is to create for the one and not for the masses. We get so focused on the numbers, but what if God called you just to speak to one person today? Would that one person not be enough? Jesus spoke to crowds, but he also stopped for the one. So how much more should you do? Even if only one person sees your message today, as long as it has impact, that's really the only thing that matters. Job done. Number 2 is to focus on the goal, not the steps to get there. A good friend said this to me recently, and it really stuck with me. Don't get lost in all the baby steps that you're taking to get to your goal. It'll cause you to get lost along the journey. Have you ever refreshed and refreshed and refreshed and checked your analytics and checked your views and checked your analytics again? You're becoming overly obsessed with the views. And I've done this too. Instead, focus on the purpose God has given you. Focus on the instructions you've been given, and over time, the growth will come. Number 3, create and let God handle the rest. One of my favorite mentors, George Ko, says to create, release, and let go. Your job is obedience. God's job is in the results. So stop overthinking, stop worrying about who sees it, and trust God with the impact. Number 4 is seek ye first the kingdom. Matthew 6:33 says, seek ye first the kingdom of God, and all these things shall be added to you. We have to stop treating our relationship with God like a business deal. And unfortunately, I've done this at times. Like, God, if I do this, and if I'm faithful with this, will you do this? How about you be faithful with everything that you've been given, whether or not God is going to come through in an exchange blessing for you right now or not? How about you do it because your heart is to serve God? What I'm saying is be faithful no matter what, and God will bless and take care of the rest. Number 5 is instead of constantly asking God for more, instead Be faithful with what you've been given right now. I found myself praying, Lord, give me a bigger audience. Lord, let them see my content. Lord, when will the people come? But I needed to shift my focus to being more faithful, because why would God send all of these people when I'm inconsistent, when I'm not going to show up consistently, and now I'm leaving the people hanging? Why would God bless my mess? I need to work on being more faithful, being more diligent, honoring my gifts, instead of worrying over and obsessing about who's going to see the content, the numbers, the engagement. Instead of praying for more people, try praying for consistency, faithfulness, obedience to do what God has already called you to do. When you do that, God will for surely send you the right people in due time. So let me end this on this note. Content is not just content, it is your ministry. It's your calling, it's your impact, it's your way of showing up and serving. So if you've been feeling stuck, you lack consistent, and you're waiting for motivation, stop waiting. Instead, shift your focus, show up with purpose, and let God do the rest. If this resonated with you, I'd love to hear from you in the comments. Have you been struggling with consistency? And what are the tips that you loved here that you're going to use to get you going? And don't forget, guys, to definitely check out the links in my description box where I share my Substack, the other things that I'm doing online, and ways you can connect and work with me. Be blessed, guys, and I'll talk with you soon.